Everything has been evil lately. I don't know about you guys. I have felt it in the country, in my personal life, in my work life, especially. Everything's just been evil. I've been evil. I don't know. I'm in my evil arc. And I just wanted to talk about it, I guess. I'm here with the speed build. It's been a while since I've done a speed build. Usually I do kind of like a build with me situation long play. This was built live on this channel, so if you want to see this like real time being made with all the chattiness and my off topicness, you can find that under the live category on my channel. But I do have some things that I want to talk about today. This build is a pizza place and it's going in my save file. I'm getting really close to the end of my kind of renovation of Willow Creek. I'm hoping to get it out by the end of the summer. And by end of summer, I do mean probably like September. I don't know. I have some like things brewing in here. Like I have some plans. I have a secret project that I literally have just thought up today. And now I'm like, okay, that's my new life's goal on this YouTube channel is to work on this secret project. And so I'm hoping to wrap up Willow Creek soon so I can start the secret project, which you guys will probably be able to guess what the secret project is. I feel like it's not very secret and it's pretty obvious. But anyways, it's a pizza place. The vibes for this pizza place are very like the kind of pizza place you'd go to as a kid and you'd be like, well, this is such a fancy, cool pizza place. And you grow up and you realize, oh, this is an Olive Garden. So that's the vibes for this. It's like a chain kind of place, not like a giant chain. Like we're not talking like Pizza Hut or anything, but we are talking like a small chain where there's like, sorry, I thought my cat was trying to break in. If you hear any fireworks, by the way, I'm recording this on the 4th of July, which is a bad decision to make, but I have so much evil dwelling inside me that I need to release. And it had to be today. I don't know. Today has been my first day off in like forever. So here I am. And I'm sorry about the fireworks. So ignore it. If there's any really big, spooky, loud booms, I'll try and like edit it down in editing so it doesn't scare you. I apologize. It's not too late yet. Like it's not dark out. So I'm hoping that they're not going to get too egregious. Anyways, what was I even saying? I don't even remember. Oh, it's like a chain. It's kind of owned by like one person, but it's like a richer person, but they only have like 3 or 4 kind of chains. Businesses, locations. That's the word I'm looking for. So that's the vibes here. And the business owners of this chain don't even live in Willow Creek. I'm going to have them live in a different town in my save file, you know, eventually when I get to the other towns. Don't think I have much else to say about the lore of this place. The main lore surrounding it is just how a lot of the other characters, the other Sims in this town have interacted with this space, with this restaurant. I think that there's going to be a lot of kids who went here growing up. There's going to be a lot of more poorer families where like this is where they would go to have like their nice like Friday evening dinner kind of vibe. So that's kind of what I was going with this. I had a lot of fun making it. It has a little arcade in the back, and then it has a kind of apartment up top. So you have the option, if you play in my save file, to make it a businesses and hobbies, like small business, if you want to. I am probably going to designate it as a restaurant, but restaurants are incredibly broken. So like, I don't know. Do with that what you will. I'll probably playtest it and from there decide which I'm going to set it as. Because if it's going to be completely broken, I probably won't make it a restaurant. Oh, I'm a liar. The apartment, it's an Airbnb. Duh. It's not an apartment. It's an Airbnb. So it can also be a vacation rental. Sorry. My brain is putty. It's because of the evilness. Like I said, today's the 4th of July, and I feel the evil dwelling within me today. My therapist, not to get too into it too quick, but I guess that's the whole point of the video. My therapist was like, do you want to still meet next week? And I was like, it's kind of up to you. Because I didn't want to be like, yes, I want to meet next week. You have to work on the 4th of July. It's a holiday. Like, she probably has a family and has like plans of her own. And but then she canceled. So she chose to cancel, but she framed it as like she was doing me a favor. She was like, well, then let's cancel next week if you don't have any plans, but like, if you want to make plans, then you'll be able to. And I was just like, girl, I have no plans. I'm not going to make any plans. Who is celebrating this country right now? Because that's kind of how I feel. And I'm sad about it because the 4th of July was my favorite holiday. Not because I was like a super patriotic person, probably not your stereotypical patriotic person. I do love America, but I love it in the sense of like, I love symbolically and theoretically what it could be. I love it in its current state? No. No, but that's surprising to nobody. Anyways, so I mainly just love the 4th of July because it was a summer holiday and I love the summer. I thrive in summer, right? Summer and me are like two peas in a pod. I have like a seasonal affective thing. I get really sad in the winter. So I just do really well in the summer. And because of that, I think it also just made it my favorite holiday because it's like the only real summer holiday that we celebrate in the States. I don't know. And just lately, with all the things, which there's an endless amount of things, in the country going on that I could talk about. Like I said, I'm recording this on the 4th of July. You're seeing this after the 4th of July, so you probably don't even care about the 4th of July talk. But it's just hard to be into the America stuff and to feel like it's even appropriate to celebrate today, even if it's not about the country, even if it's just like spending time with friends. It just didn't feel right, just based on everything going on. And then also, like, with the fireworks and my cats, like, my best friend invited me over, and I was like, I don't really want to leave my pets alone. Sorry, big boom. So I just ended up staying here, but I've had a very nice day. I did go and lay in a field. That was amazing. I found a field, I laid in it. I also went to the bookstore. I bought a bunch of books. Do you want to see the books that I bought? I bought 3 books today. I felt like I deserved it, even though objectively I shouldn't have spent $70 at the bookstore. I did. I bought Bunny. Everybody talks about this book. I'm really discovering that I really like weird fiction, and so this is like a mainstay in like that kind of like crazy weird category. And I haven't read it, and it was on the bookshelf, and I was feeling awful today, and the library is closed because it's a holiday. Because normally when I feel like this, I just go to the library, and you can tell I've been feeling like this lately because I have a stack of books over here. I'll put a picture on the screen of my library haul from the other day. I literally stopped at multiple locations, like multiple libraries, in order to get this haul of books. I think it was literally like day before yesterday. And then today I went and I bought 3 books because the library was closed. I was like, I'm gonna go to the library. And then I realized, oh my God, it's a holiday. I can't go. And then I spent my money. Anyways, so I got Bunny. Excited about that. This book, Livid, I'm excited about this. This is, I believe, a local author, Kai Amons. She's from Oregon, the Eugene area specifically. And this is a book about a woman who goes on jury duty, and she gets this murder case, and it's like this gruesome murder, and then her ex-husband is also selected for the jury, and then they get re-intertwined or something. I don't know. It sounded interesting, and it only had like 11 reviews on Storygraph, and so I wanted to be one of those reviews. But then I Googled the author, and it ruined my day because she died. It was an unfortunate circumstance, but this is called Livid, and it's kind of about like women's rage, I think. I'm excited to read this because right now I'm reading Night Bitch, and it seems kind of like similar. And then I also picked up I Only Cry with Emoticons by Evie Zalvko. I'm sorry, I should have really looked up how to pronounce these authors before I started talking to you about them. This one is signed by the author, which is cute. Look at that little signature. Adorable. Yeah, this is about a man and he's like trying to date in the digital world. I don't know. It's just kind of about struggling with connection through technology, which is a topic that I always love. I love No One Is Talking About This. I love books that kind of explore that. So I also got this. Sorry if you don't care about book talk at all. And not book talk as in TikTok, but book talk as in me talking about books. I'll be brief. I have read some interesting stuff lately. I read Big Swiss, which I super loved. I read this book named Blob, which is about this woman who found this blob, like a literal gelatinous blob, in an alleyway, and then she takes it home and slowly tries to morph it into a human man in order to make it her boyfriend. Crazy, great book. I read it on jury duty, which is part of the reason I picked up that book that was about jury duty, is because I had to go to jury duty lately. Like I said, everything's been evil lately. I've had a time of it. What else have I read lately? Oh, you know what I really actually do need to talk about? And sorry, I'm going to talk about this for a minute. I got my first ever arc, and it's all thanks to you guys. I emailed Andrew Joseph White, and I was like, hello. I desire an arc of You Weren't Meant to Be Human. If you don't know, You Weren't Meant to Be Human is Andrew Joseph White's adult debut, and it's coming out in September. I'll put the date on screen. Full disclaimer, this is my first arc. I am very excited that I got advanced reader access to this, so I don't want to like unintentionally be like undisclosed advertising to you. Like, keep it in mind. Like, I got this book, I read it for free. I got a digital copy, so I didn't get like a physical copy or anything, but I was very excited to receive it. But the reason that I reached out and asked is because I really did want to read it, because you guys have suggested to me endlessly to read Andrew Joseph White's stuff. I just have a thing with young adult where like I can't fully get into it the way that I can adult novels, and the premise of You Weren't Meant to Be Human sounded like my worst nightmare, honestly. It was like somebody made a horror novel specifically for me. You Weren't Meant to Be Human is about a trans guy who is part of like this worm bug cult and ends up pregnant, and it's like his worst nightmare. It's like this body horror type of thing. More than body horror, honestly, it's just about like kind of abusive relationships. It was really good. I really liked it. There was a bit of like, I don't know how to say it. For some reason, while recording this, I was having such a hard time articulating what I was trying to say here. I did have the initial kind of critique of the book that it did read a little bit immature, which I think immature is a very harsh word. I think it was compulsively readable, and I do think that there's a level of like that kind of casual style that is very nice because it is so readable, but at times it did veer just slightly into like a little bit immature to me. I think partially that was kind of my own fault, right? Like, I have a very similar mental health problems that Crane, the main character Crane, had. And I think I struggle generally to read really anxious main characters or main characters that are really mentally ill in the same type of way that I am. I like when my characters are neurodivergent, and so I did like the aspects of autism that are in the book because Crane is autistic. But when it came to like more of like the depression and the anxiety and kind of the self-loathing, I did have a bit of an issue with that just because it's too relatable to me, if that makes sense. And that's not like necessarily a fair critique of the book by any measure. And I think that sounds like a big critique. I don't think it is a big critique. I think that some books are written in a way that has more distance between you and the character. Like the book that I'm reading right now, I thought it was behind me. It's not. Night Bitch. Like that book, you are very separate from the main character. There's some distance kind of created there. And it kind of conjures this image of like what an adult novel, adult fiction novel is, where it's like this more kind of clinical, almost academic kind of style of writing. You Weren't Meant to Be Human isn't like that, but I don't think that that's a bad thing. I don't want my literature to be like that all the time, actually. I really enjoy when it feels like easy to read, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's very easy to read, but it also at times is a little bit grating. I felt like I was just like engrossed by it though. Like, I could not put it down. I had one night where I got home from work. I had spent the entire day at work like reading because it was really slow that day and I could read with my e-reader. And then I got home and I meant to go to bed and I just sat on the couch and I read like 120 pages in one sitting. Unheard of for me to do that. I just had to know what happened next. I wish I could talk about a lot of the things that I liked about the book in more detail, but I don't want to spoil things for you. It explored more real life things, real life issues. It was very political, which I liked. I think that being bold and political is so important. I think being unabashedly trans and gross and like grimy is so cool. I think that the depiction of the violence and the sexuality of it was really important. And I thought it was really important that it was gross. I don't know. I think that it's just, it's so real and like earnest. And you could tell that it was from a place of like real experience, which I always appreciate. You can tell reading that there's a certain amount of it that is a bit autofiction-y. And I'm being presumptuous here, maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like it's very much based on experience. It's really this book about like mental health, and there are parts about the main character that really bothered me. Sorry, apparently I couldn't articulate either of my critiques about this book very well the first time that I did it. There was a lot of referring to like the past and like past memories, and Crane was talking about his past self. And a lot of this very trans idea of like the pre-transition you as like this whole separate person. That's dead name, that's different from who I am now. And I just struggle with that as a trope. It feels a bit cliche to me. It's not relatable to me as a trans person, which I understand that every trans person is going to have a different experience. And I am sure that that is how it feels for a lot of trans guys. I'm in more of like a gender non-conforming kind of space with my kind of trans identity. So I understand that I'm not going to relate to that in the same way as everyone else. But even still, like keeping that in mind, to me, that still does feel kind of like an overdone kind of trope idea of transness. I don't know. And maybe I'm like out of touch there because that's not my experience, but that's it kind of read a bit cliche at times as well. But that was my only other critique of it. Like, but yeah, I gave You Weren't Meant to Be Human a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was amazing. I think it would have been a 5 stars for me if it was just like a little bit less flashback-y. But honestly, I am so excited to read anything else by Andrew Joseph White, like especially like can we please get some more adult novels by him? I feel like FTM fiction, trans fiction is just so I don't know. I've had a hard time finding any. If you have any recs, please let me know. I do have Manhunt by Gretchen Felker, but I might have to DNF it. It's a bit like purple to me. I don't know if you guys know what I mean by that. It's just a bit overwritten, which at the beginning. So sometimes I feel like authors do that where they kind of like try and put their best foot forward by like starting in a really kind of flowery tone and then it kind of falls off. I hate when that happens. I hate when it's overwritten like that. I can't do it. Anyways, book talk aside, I had to get that out of the way because I am very thankful that I got an arc and I did want to kind of talk about it because I also thought it would be cool because so many of you guys have recommended his books to me. So I just wanted to like kind of give you a little like advanced review. I don't know, hopefully you guys aren't mad at me for that. I really wanted to read it. I don't know. Anyways, to get off the topic of books, I've been saying everything is evil and I have evilness dwelling within me. First of all, it's just like everything going on. And there's so many things I could be talking about when I say that, and the things that I'm talking about, all of it, just like the things with ICE raids, and ICE now has a budget of in 175 billion with a B, and also bombing Iran for some reason, and also talking about, Medicaid being cut massively. I just, the way that they're trying to make a bunch of land public, the literal camps that are being built in our country, I could go on and on and on. Everything is so awful. And it's really easy to get really just kind of hopeless feeling. And I just want to reiterate, despite the evilness, you aren't allowed to be a doomer. You have to have hope because if you get hopeless, you get complicit. And I understand that everyone is fearful, and I am so afraid. Trust me. I wish I could be like, I feel great right now. I don't feel great. I feel filled with the anxiety levels of somebody being hunted for sport, honestly, it is devastating to watch everything through my stupid little phone screen. But it's also really important to not get hopeless and complacent about it and to not just give in because it's not just about you being hopeless. It's about everybody's capacity to make better for the world. I believe in the capability of better. And I think it's important that everyone else does. And I think that the really good ways to do that are to organize, to do community aid, to do community support. If you are someone who feels really hopeless and awful, the best things that you can do is to reach out to mutual aid groups in your area and see how you can get involved and to see how you can actually get your foot on the ground and like start doing some work. That donating, obviously, I've previously said, like, call your senators, call your representatives, whatever. It does feel a little bit tone deaf to say, just considering that they aren't doing anything to prevent any of this stuff happening. But if that's something that makes you feel productive, it surely cannot hurt. I certainly am still doing those things, even though I'm kind of starting to doubt the change that's making. Yeah, you're not allowed to be a doomer about it. You're really not. And not to sound like a freaking therapist being like, make a gratitude list, but I do try and remember the privilege that we have, at least if you're in America, to try and leverage that privilege for good. um, it's obviously hard to like say that because everybody's circumstances are so different and it's really hard when you have no freaking healthcare and you can't afford to eat and your wage is nothing and you're working all the time. Like I totally get that. So I'm not trying to sound like a preachy asshole who's like just be grateful. That's certainly not what I mean, but I more so mean a call to action to those of you who might have privilege in any way, shape, or form to please leverage that instead of just, I'm seeing a lot of people being like, I'm leaving the country. And I've certainly had those feelings of like, oh my God, like being a trans person right now is so, so scary. Try my best to just contextualize it all. And it's really hard. The reason I'm saying everything's evil is because I've been in a foul mood lately because it's been affecting me deeply. And I think there's a certain level of unplugging that's very healthy. And there's a certain level of remaining knowledgeable that is very important. And you do have to balance that, right? Because if you burn yourself out, then you're going to be no use to anything, right? And not that your value is determined by use. I'm digging myself a hole. I think you understand what I mean about balance and about keeping yourself knowledgeable while not overwhelming yourself. I don't know if that little rant is helpful to anyone. More so, maybe I needed to just say it again and again and again. To just do a YouTube video right now on the 4th of July and to be like, not acknowledging any of that stuff would just feel wrong and gross. And I also think it feels insane, honestly, to just be like going about your life ignoring everything that's broadly happening in the world. Genuine question to those of you who are not neurotypical and work full time. How do you manage? Because I'm not working full time right now. I am working like 30 hours a week and I feel insane. And partially I'm learning something new. So I've been put into a new position and I've been working there for about a week. And it's like some really complicated stuff. I'm not going to get too particular on here, obviously, lest I dox where I work. But I'm doing really complicated stuff, high quantities of money, kind of navigating legal things and just procedures that are all pretty similar to one another, but then maybe like slightly different. And I learned it about a week ago, and I have been at work. So I just haven't had like a real day off in forever. Today's been my first like real day off. And I go back to work tomorrow. And then every night I'm dreaming about work. And I just feel so insane. And I think it's partially like world events and everything, as well as like work, but also just like being neurodivergent. I just don't think I'm meant to do this. I think it's so interesting because before I was working, I was really happy working 3 days a week. I was working usually more hours, but I was working 3 days a week, closing weekends. It was amazing. And then maybe like Wednesday or like Thursday, I would go into work. It was so sick. I was so happy. And I had a moment where I was like, literally, like, God, like, the world is kind of falling apart, but like all things considered, like I feel pretty good. Like I feel pretty secure in my body. I'm focusing on my mental health a bit. I've been seeing like a nutritionist, like all these things, right? Like I was thinking like I actually feel pretty okay. And then literally the last 2 weeks since my work schedule went up, I feel insane. I feel unhappy. I can't eat anything because I just have so much anxiety all the time. It's like, how do people do this? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just that it's new and I'll get used to it, but I've never done well working a lot. And granted, I kind of have like 3 part-time gigs that I kind of do. I do this. I know it doesn't look like it based on my upload history lately, but this is technically like a part-time thing. It makes me a little bit of money, a little bit. And then that was like my Trump impression. Um, and then I also have like art stuff, which the art stuff has been popping off, might I say. It's been doing really well. I had a piece that sold recently. I have these little magnets and they are currently in a museum. If you are in the Auburn, Washington area, the Postmark Museum is going to have my work there. So if you wish to go see, it's under the name Asher. Um, I've been really like focusing on the art stuff lately, which has been fulfilling. But then, yeah, work picked back up and I just feel crazy. I just feel crazy. I feel crazy. I feel like I'm always at work. I'm never here. I'm never just doing what I want to do with my life. I'm always working. And then I feel crazy because they're gaslighting me about it. It's so wild. They'll be like they keep telling me like we're not going to give you too many hours. Like I can't see my own damn schedule and I can't see that I'm working 5 days a week. And my hours might be low, but I'm there 5 days a week. So what the do you mean? Drive me nuts. Anyways, I'm a bad human. Okay, I had to scrap the rest of the voiceover, come and do it again because the fireworks were just getting a bit much. And so here I am to finish the voiceover. We're kind of starting the Airbnb portion, the vacation rental portion of the build. I did like a twin set of beds. So there's 2 twin beds in that room, and then there's a room with a queen. So you could do like a little family, like 4 people, I think at most, could probably stay in this little rental place. And I just have this here so that if you want to visit Willow Creek and you're playing through of this save, you totally can do that. That was kind of the goal with this. I wanted just a diverse amount of lot types and like things to do, and I felt like it made sense for there to be at least like one vacation rental in the whole city. Probably not many because it's not like a vacation place by any means, but I just wanted there to be at least one option for that. So that's what this kind of upper stairs apartment is. You'd have to like go in game and like swap it yourself. I'm getting pretty close to the end of my renovation of Willow Creek, which is kind of crazy because I've been working on this for over a year. It's been so long. I've had a lot of fun with it. It's also taken me infinitely longer than I expected it to. I don't know what I expected. I'm slow at everything I do. I take forever when it comes to art, when it comes to Sims, when it comes to making videos, just all of it. I'm just a slower running person. I don't know. With this project, like I'm tentatively hoping to get it out sometime at the end of the summer, maybe early fall. But I also don't want to say that too definitively in case it doesn't happen just because it's going to take me longer than I'm estimating it's going to take me. Like it's undoubtedly going to take me longer than I think it is. But I think it's also kind of a good thing I did it this way. I know it might be kind of frustrating for you guys for me to be like, you know, talking about this endlessly for like a year and it just like not being a thing for so long. But I do think I would have gotten really burnt out on this project had I not kind of taken my time with it and stepped away from the game as much as I kind of needed to along the way. Because I do disappear on this channel periodically. And it's partially just like life gets really busy. And then, you know, YouTube kind of has to be the first thing that I cut because there's just too much for me to keep it all on my plate. And then partially it's just like sometimes being disinterested in the game, or just not really inspired in a particular moment. And I don't feel the need to continue to push myself to like make things in The Sims if I'm not really feeling it, because that would be a great way for me to just like resent the game and never want to play it again, which I don't know. Speaking of resentment and not wanting to play the game, Enchanted by Nature is out. The day that I'm uploading this, I think is the same day that that new game pack, no, expansion pack is coming out. I did react to the trailer in my last live, and there's so many thoughts, so many. First of all, I think the most pertinent issue, obviously, is the conversation that I feel like we have every other video on this channel, and more often in the broader Sims community, of just like the bug issue in this game, where just like every single time they try and fix something, it gets more and more broken. I don't know. And I remember at one point they were going to have a dedicated team to kind of tackle these bugs, and I don't know what happened to that. Clearly, it didn't go very far, because now they're releasing patches that are meant to fix some bugs that are just creating more bugs, and then the original bug isn't getting fixed. Like, currently, if you somehow haven't heard, pregnancy is like kind of really broken. Like, the moodlets don't work, the pregnancy test doesn't work, and because of the way the pregnancy in this game works, it's like completely hinges on the moodlet system. And so if the moodlets for pregnancy are broken, like pregnancy itself in this game is broken, which is crazy for The Sims to have that issue. Also, you can't like drag and drop dishes, and people are still having like weather happening inside. I'm pretty sure that game breaking for rent glitch is like still in the game. It's very encouraging for me to be working on a save file while this is happening. I've worked on it too much. Like, I've put too much of my love and labor into this project for me to just give up on it because of some bugs in the game. And I know that me saying some bugs is very dismissive. They were like bad bugs. Like, I think that we do a lot of fear mongering in the Sims community about like TS2 glitches and how The Sims 2, like, you can break your whole game and game corruption and blah 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 blah, and you can't do X because it causes game corruption, you can't do Y because it causes game corruption. But then, like, look at The Sims 4. Like, look at how broken this game genuinely is. Like, there's genuine game corruption. I know everybody kind of like says this, but at what point is it illegal for them to just have such a broken game? If you can't use the advertised features of the paid packs, like the DLC, because I know that at this point, like, The Sims 4 as a game is free, but I also paid $60 for the game when it came out. I was having a conversation with my mom where she was like, I think it's the most expensive game. My mom said that, and I was like, yeah, it is. And I kind of outlined to her how much it costs and stuff, and she was just shocked, because I try and talk about like my YouTube channel a bit with people in my life, and it's a bit hard to describe sometimes certain things that I'm talking about because the game is so riddled with bugs. I will realize, like, first of all, I just like play the game like in the most neurodivergent capacity ever, like me making this save file and like all this lore, and like I recognize that it's hard to explain that stuff just because that's like a really weird way to play this game. But partially it's also hard because I'll say something and then I'll be like, oh, but like blah 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 glitched, and then I have to describe like, well, the game doesn't really work even though it's so expensive. And to normal people who are not in the Sims community, it is such like a foreign concept to them. It's just at a certain point, yeah, when is it illegal for the game to just be so broken when so much of us have spent so much money on it? I do really want to make more non-Sims 4 Sims videos. I really want to make a Sims 3 video about bans. I kind of filmed a portion of that. I think I just need to like delete all that footage and redo it. The thing with like the Sims 3 bans is it works on like the opportunity system, and so it just takes a really long time. So I think I'll have to record that video over like multiple play sessions and multiple days. I do still want to do that. I still also want to get back to The Sims 2. I have just been very distracted, not into The Sims in general lately. And then when I have had energy for The Sims, I've been just kind of full force trying to get The Sims 4 save file done, because I'm, in like the final stretch and I'm like sprinting towards the end. And if I get too sidetracked by playing The Sims 2 for hours and hours and hours on end, I won't have time in my life for anything else. Not even just The Sims 4, but I won't have time to like eat or paint or live my life in any real capacity because The Sims 2 is so addicting. I love The Sims 2. But that's the reason I haven't made another Sims 2 video. I know that there are people on this channel who really love when I play not The Sims 4, and I'm very sorry for neglecting you. I promise I remember and I will return to. I just, and then we're getting another stupid nature pack, which I guess I didn't even talk about my opinions about Enchanted by Nature. I just talked about the bugs. I just feel like we've done this before. I could literally do a video playing like in Hanford on Bagley, and like that would be Enchanted by Nature. Like it's the same thing that we already have. It seems like the fairy stuff is like kind of background, not really a pertinent part of the pack, just from what I've seen. And I've not watched any gameplay overview stuff. I've seen that like everybody's kind of hating on it. There are people who have complaints who don't normally complain about the game very much, which is kind of a bad sign. You know, I don't even have that many more thoughts about it because everything I have to say is like not an original thought. I feel like everybody's kind of thought similar things about the pack and its release. Like I think that this pack has met pretty poor reception. At least that's my kind of take on it. I feel like I see very few people who are very excited about it. So I guess the Sims team is going to see how well it sells. And then hopefully they're just going to actually take some of these bugs seriously. I saw they released a statement, but if I'm honest, I feel like EA knows they can get away with a lot, so they just don't give them the ability to fix things, unfortunately. So yeah, that's my little rant about The Sims, the state of The Sims. My monthly rant I do about the state of The Sims, where I say nothing new anytime that I talk about the state of The Sims. Kind of nearing the end of the speed build, and if you want more kind of chatty, buildy videos with me, there will be a playlist on screen with a bunch of other kind of chatty, building videos, anywhere from like speed build to long play to kind of build with me style videos, or even like the lives on my channel. If you want more of my voice for some reason, and in general, if you watch this all the way through to the end, thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Thank you for watching.